Alright, so welcome to Revit 2019 Demo 24. We're going to get started by explaining patterns and materials. Within patterns and materials, there's two types. We have model versus drafting. The model pattern material represents actual element appearance on the building, such as brick, ceramic, and tile, and they scale with the model. You can move, rotate, align, and dimension to create different sizes. Drafting patterns represent these in symbolic form. The pattern stays the same size regardless of the size. So what does this mean? A drafting pattern, let's say you put a common gypsum plaster drafting pattern in a space at an 1/8 inch equals 1 foot scale. There might be 1,000 dots in the space. If you change the scale to a 1/4 inch equals 1 foot, there would be 4,000 dots and the pattern would look muddy. If you change the scale to a 1/16 of an inch equals 1 foot, you would have 250 dots and the space would be less dotty. So a hint, if you have a very dark area that has a pattern applied to the material in the view, the drafting pattern is the culprit. You may need to turn the pattern off or halftone it. A model pattern, the smarter of the two, they are real size. Let's say you put 1 foot of square tiles in a 100 square foot room. Yes, math wizards, that's 100 tiles. If the scale is an 1/8 inch equals 1 foot, there will be 100 squares in the room. If the scale is 1/16 equals a foot, there will be 100 squares in the room. If the scale is a 1/4 inch equals a foot, there will be 100 squares in the room. So we're going to get started by continuing from where we left off on Demo 23, and we're going to illustrate the difference between these two model patterns. Now, what we want to do is we want to go to Floor Plan Level 2, and so under Floor Plan Level 2, we're going to go to the Properties, and we're going to click on the floor. We want to pick the floor that we had created previously. In here, we want to change it to a wood joist 10-inch ceramic tile. So we're going to go to this. Now you'll notice that right now there's no pattern associated to it. So we're going to edit the type, and under here we want to go to Structure. Under Structure, we're going to pick on Tile Mosaic, which is this top one, and you'll notice that the layers above are the top layers to the bottom layers. So we're going to go ahead and edit this. And we want to make an annoying green color. So under shading, we're going to adjust this to a really obnoxious green color, which is just this one. And under here, we want to go to Identity and change the description to CT, capital CT. And we want to change the mark to 13. And we're going to hit Apply. And we're going to hit OK, because we're done, and hit OK and OK. Now, we don't see the tile floor yet, but if we adjust this to fine and hit SD, now we do. It's really ugly green. Now, if we hit HL, it'll go away. So that's just applying that shaded value, SD, to HL. And it's ultimately what's giving you the color that shows up on that floor. So what we're going to do is we're going to tag it now that that's hidden. So we're going to go to Annotate, Material Tag. We're going to make sure we have Gallatin Material Tag loaded. And you'll notice that the CT13 displayed. So I can turn the leader off for now and just place it. And so that's a really nice component because the material is associated to the floor and not a ceiling in this example. So one thing that's missing is we don't have a pattern associated, or a surface pattern, to that flooring. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the floor itself, which if we go and filter to floors, we can then edit the type again and edit the value. Now what's happening is there isn't a surface pattern associated. We have a cut pattern associated but not a surface. So we want to set this to tile. Let's see if we can find a tile. And we'll set this as a model element for now. So let's go to model and we'll do 4-inch tile. Hit OK, apply, OK, OK, apply, OK. And you'll notice that now we have a tile in there. So that's super helpful. Now you'll also notice if I change the scale to an 1/8 inch, it's going to remain at the correct size. It's still a 4-inch tile. So no matter what size I change the view to, that tile stays the same. And the reason for that is it's a model-based pattern. So now that's the brief introduction to surface patterns and model versus drafting. Now to change this to a drafting pattern, let's just show that really quick. If I go into tile, I can change this back to a drafting, and we could set this to say insulation rigid for now because I don't have a direct tile pattern. I guess we could do crosshatch. Let's do crosshatch. Hit apply, OK. Hit OK, apply, OK. Now the scale's there, it's associated, but if I change this to an 1/8 inch, it's going to scale up. And that doesn't keep it at the proper scale. So you can see as I'm going through these different scales, drafting patterns can create problems. Now, go ahead and change that back to a surface pattern. So we're going to select the floor, filter, check none, floors, apply, OK, edit the type. We want to change this value back to a surface pattern of a model 4-inch tile. Apply OK, OK, apply OK, and now we're back. So now we know that that will scale accordingly. Go ahead and save this as project Revit 2019 Demo 24, and I will see you in the next lecture.